Hey everyone, it's Pam and I'm here with my monthly update video telling you everything that I was up to in the month of November. This is obviously very late. I have been so busy at work over the last few weeks. I've been working weekends and working late, and when I get home I haven't really had any time or inclination to do any video stuff. So sorry that this is almost a week later than it should be. My big project that I was working on at work just not wrapped up, but got UAT sign off. So hopefully I can breathe for a little bit now and it gets less busy over Christmas. I also had a problem with my laptop, which I usually record these videos on. It won't charge anymore. So if I want to film, I have to set up my webcam on my desktop, which is what I'm doing now. So you can see my kitchen behind me instead of my game room. So that's exciting, and there's no room to properly set up my lights either, but I will make do with what I have to in order to get this video out. On to the updates. As usual, there were 2 new episodes of my own podcast, Media Mavens. The first one, we had a guest, which was Catherine from Flock of Nerds and Flock Talk, which is a channel I've shouted out here before. And we talked all about gaming as a social activity. So we talked about, party games, how video games have brought us together, whether it's from MMOs or things like the Cartridge Club. We talked about esports, since last month I had a bunch of people over to my place to watch the Overwatch World Cup. So that was a really fun episode to do, and you should check that one out. And the other one that we did was just Riley and myself doing sort of the usual, talking about what we've been up to and also taking listener questions. I did appear in a video that came out in November. The Cartridge Club is doing a Sega Top 50 list, so the club all voted on our favorite Sega games and sort of compiled those and made our top 50. The episodes are coming out a little on the slow side, so the third one just came out, which was numbers 30 to 21, and though I don't play a ton of Sega games, I did the voiceover for 2 of the games in that episode, so if you want to check that out, it's on the YouTube channel Cartridge Bros. As for pickups, I got a few things in November. First was something that my friend Joel picked up for me. He's always on the lookout for PC Big Box. So this is Pariah, which is not a good video game. It's basically like a Halo knockoff, but it is the first game I did quality assurance on in the short time I worked for a gaming publisher. So it's kind of nice to have this. I'm pretty sure I got a copy of this not long after the game released, and I'm pretty sure I threw it in the garbage. So it's nice to have this one back just because it is something that I worked on, even though it's not something I really ever want to play again. Also, my friend Kamal, he just opened up a second location of his store, We Got Games, so we went to the grand opening for that, and he had a good sale. Anything less than $25 was half off, so I got Scream Ride for Xbox One for, I don't know, I think it was $7 or something. I've never played this, I still haven't tried it yet, but it's basically a roller coaster builder, and I like theme park builders or sort of builders in general, so I will check this one out maybe over the Christmas vacation. And while I was there, I also got Fusion Frenzy for Xbox One. This is a game that on the Media Mavens episode with Catherine I was talking about, she mentioned Fusion Frenzy as being a really good party game. So it's also one of the few titles that is backwards compatible, so I can play this on my Xbox One, which is really nice. So I thought I'd pick this up. It wasn't very expensive either, and I look forward to trying it with some friends. And the last thing I got is also from We Got Games. I was there buying some Christmas presents for Will, and Kamal was nice enough to just throw this in for free since it was something I was interested in. So it's the Dragon Age Origins Guidebook. I'm pretty sure it's some kind of limited edition. It's got the signatures of people who worked on the game in it. And it's basically just a guide with combat advice and all the quest things. I feel like I probably know everything there is to know about Dragon Age Origins since I have played it so often. But one of the things that I do really like is that at the end there's like a sort of a history of Thetis and Ferelden, which is nice. I'll probably give this a read. It's just, you know, a little bit more history. I'm not super into reading the codex entries in-game since I find it kind of annoying to go back and forth, but if I have it in book form, I might actually read it and learn a little something about the game world. And lastly, what I have been playing, I've played a few things in November. I've been playing Divinity Original Sin 2. I'm still sort of working my way through that one, and I really love it. I like it better than the first game in the series. There's so many quests, there's so many things to do. At times it's a little overwhelming, and I think I'm about 25 hours in, and I don't think I'm close to the end yet. So I'm sort of taking my time through it, but it's really good. I love the turn-based combat, and the story's good, and the characters are all great. So I will continue plugging away at that. I really would like to finish it before the end of the year, because it will probably appear on my best games of 2017 list. In November, I also finished Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, and I did a review on that, which is somewhat rare for me to review a new release, but check out that review if you want to hear more of my thoughts on that. Basic rundown is that I really enjoyed it. I loved the story, I loved the characters, but I found some of the combat and level design a little bit more frustrating than it was in the first game. I also played A Night in the Woods, which is a very narrative-heavy game. It focuses on a girl called May who went off to college and came back to her town and kind of found out that everyone else grew up around her and she still feels like hasn't really grown up or matured as much as everyone else, and things have changed, and just coming to terms with that change. There's a lot of sort of small town feelings in it, like it's a small town that had a factory and the factory's closed, so people are losing their jobs and having a hard time making a living, and it's really well done. I really like the writing. There's some cool little gameplay elements in there that make it more than just a visual novel. Like there is some action in it, and well, I don't know if action's the right word, but there's, you know, you can walk on telephone lines and you can do things with your friends. One of your friends wants to have a knife fight. So it's pretty funny. Everyone in the game is like an anthropomorphic animal instead of a human, which is a nice touch for it. I enjoyed the game, although I didn't really relate to it all that much. I've never really lived in a small town, and I feel like I have always been an adult. So it was nice to sort of get a different kind of perspective on things, though. I also picked up The Walking Dead Michonne on a Black Friday sale on Xbox Live, and I don't know why. I don't like Telltale games. I like some of them. Like, I really love the original Walking Dead Telltale game. I thought that was fantastic. But ever since then, the formula has just gotten very stale for me, and this game was no exception. It was sort of like, oh, make a decision, it matters, I promise, but actually it doesn't really matter. And then combine that with just my general frustration with The Walking Dead and how everyone just yells and shoots at each other rather than just having a conversation and working things out that could probably be worked out without violence. I didn't love it. It was short, that's a positive. It was only 3 episodes, maybe 6 hours long, but I need to really stop with the Telltale games because they always disappoint me. I also played The Cave, which is I'd call it puzzle platformer from Double Fine, so it's got sort of that trademark Ron Gilbert and Tim Schafer sense of humor in it, and at the beginning you can pick between I think 8 or 9 different characters, and you pick 3 of them, and you have to go through this cave together. And what levels you will see depend on who you pick, because each character has a level specific to them. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good amount of puzzling, some fun platforming, and this really funny voiceover as you play through the whole game. So I definitely recommend The Cave if anyone's looking for a slightly older puzzle platformer to play. And lastly, I finally actually picked up the Switch and played a game on it, and that game was Mario Odyssey. And this is where everyone unsubscribes. I am not crazy about Mario Odyssey. It looks nice. It plays okay. I was playing it in handheld mode, and I'm not a handheld fan. I don't like the buttons. I don't think it's comfortable to hold. I don't like that there are motion controls that you can't turn off. In terms of the gameplay, it just seems like there's not a whole lot to do. There's a lot of sort of exploration and going through the world. There's not too many enemies to have to fight. Like, you don't have to jump on a whole lot of Goomba heads. So it's mainly exploring and looking for these moons that will let you go on to the next world. And it's just not my cup of tea. The whole, like, large open world exploration thing isn't what I like. There are some parts I do like. I like the boss fights at the end of each world. I like those. And also sometimes when you go through a pipe, you'll find yourself in like a 2D platforming segment, and I really like those. But I don't know, 3D platformers... Actually, I won't even say I don't like 3D platformers, because there have been a number that I've liked in the past. I just find that what I've seen so far, and I think I've done 3 worlds in Mario Odyssey, so I'm not, I haven't done a ton, but I feel like I've done enough to get a grasp on what the gameplay loop is. It's just not something I find super appealing. There are a lot of cutscenes, which I don't think are necessary. I don't think Mario is an interesting character. I mean, he doesn't talk. He doesn't really have a personality. I don't think the story of, oh no, Bowser stole the princess is an interesting story. So every time there's a cutscene, I'm kind of just like, all right, get on with it, move on to the gameplay. But then I get to the gameplay, and 90% of it is just walking around, ground pounding, trying to get moons to pop up out of nowhere, looking in every little nook and cranny and cave. So it's not my thing. I've heard some parts of it are better. I've heard that like once you get to New Donk City, that is a more interesting world to play. But at the moment, I think I'll finish the game, hopefully, if it doesn't take too much longer. But anything with the collecting the extra moons and getting the true ending, which I honestly think is a ridiculous concept, a true ending for collecting every single thing, I don't think I'll do that. But I would like to finish the game just to say that I have played a Switch game, finally, a year later. So... Alright, that's it for this update. Again, sorry it was so late. I've just been so busy. Hopefully I got a new charger for my laptop. Hopefully that was the problem and I can actually start recording somewhere else other than here. I've got a few things in the works for December, but otherwise, let me know if you played anything notable in November or recently. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.